Now that we've gone through all the numbers and we know that marginal revenue needs to equal marginal cost, let's see what it looks like graphed. So, like I've been doing recently, whenever I introduce these graphs, I'm going to show you what is on the horizontal and the vertical axis. And whenever we're dealing with the average costs and the total cost and the marginal revenue, the average revenue, the total revenue, whenever we're calculating all of that, output is always down here on the horizontal axis. And on this vertical axis is actually dollars. So we have that set up. Now, we're introducing a new curve that we haven't shown you yet, and that's that marginal revenue curve. Well, if you remember that marginal revenue in a perfectly competitive market is actually a flat curve. It is a solid number. It is a single number. We consider, since they are price takers, that the price is a constant number. So this marginal revenue in that last example we said was 45. So we see this marginal revenue actually is a flat line right here, and it's that way. It's that flat line because that firm is a price taker, and they're a price taker because in perfectly competitive markets we say that there are so many buyers and so many sellers that no one person can impact the market. That business level production is so small that it will not have a perceivable impact on the market. So we are assuming perfect competition in this, so we know that marginal revenue is equal to average revenue, which is also equal to the price. So this curve right here is the marginal revenue, the average revenue, and the price curve. So the next thing that we need to kind of focus on is the aspect that we said that marginal revenue equals marginal cost at the profit maximizing level of output. So we have our marginal cost curve, our marginal revenue curve here, and our marginal cost curve right here. So our marginal cost curve is that orange curve, and where those two intersect, which is right there at that point, that's that profit maximizing point. So that profit maximizing point is where MR equals MC. It's the intersection of that MR and that MC curve. And we actually find out that it's just a little over 11 units of output. Now, does this make sense? Well, think back to that last video. We said that that profit maximizing level of output should be somewhere between, I believe it was 10.6 and 11.8 units of output. And it was somewhere right around there. And I said I would estimate it was right around 11 units of output. And here we have that graph showing us that that is exactly what it is that it's right around that 11 units output. So I want to dive into a little bit more about, well, what if the price changes? Because we know that prices change. And whenever we're dealing with this, we're assuming that we're dealing with perfect competition and we're dealing with a single price. Because you're a price taker, you are faced with a price and you can't really change it. So because of that, it's a flat line. But commodity prices do change, don't they? So what happens if they change? What if say the prices increased from $45 to $75? So now that's our new marginal revenue curve. It's increased. Well, what is going to happen to our level of production? Our level of production is going to increase. Because of the increase in revenue, you are now incentivized as a business to produce more. And you're always going to produce where marginal revenue equals marginal cost. Because what if we were producing down here at this? What if we were producing at this output? We never changed our output because prices changed, but now prices increase. Well, at this same point, now our marginal revenue is greater than our marginal cost, which means we should increase production. So we begin moving up this production until we find that same point where marginal revenue equals marginal cost. What if prices increase now to $100? So they go up to that point. Now how much do we produce? Well, the answer is still simple. Where does marginal revenue equal marginal cost? And it equals where those two lines are intersecting. So we're actually drawing new marginal revenue curves. We're allowing the price to change. We're changing and we're actually increasing the price. And we're finding out that what we do as a business is that we actually increase production as prices increase. So what if they were to increase all the way up here to $150? Well, the answer is simple. We just increase production again. But we always produce. The key thing that I want you to focus on here is we are always going to produce where marginal revenue equals marginal cost. What if prices actually decrease? What if prices actually fall to, let's say, right there? Well, what do? Well, now if we continue to produce at the original profit maximizing output, if we continue to produce at that level right there, now we're faced with a marginal cost at this point, a higher marginal cost than our marginal revenue, because our marginal revenue is fallen, our price is fallen. So whenever that happens, what do you do whenever your marginal cost is higher than your marginal revenue? You begin to decrease production. So you're going to move down this line until these 2 points intersect, and now you're going to produce less. The key thing about this, ladies and gentlemen, is we can move these marginal revenue curves up and down, or do it however we want to. We can allow that price to change, and that's still going to dictate where we produce at. What is our profit maximizing level of output? But in any case, we are always producing at the same point, essentially, the same theoretical point where marginal revenue equals marginal cost. That is the key aspect you've got to keep in mind through this, is that you always produce where marginal revenue equals marginal cost.